Hello, mega exercisers. This is the Muscle Lady here to remind you to exercise your muscle.
Hashtag exercise your muscle.
So we have been talking on the series called The Caterpillar. This is week 2. Previous week, we spoke about the first 2 stages of a caterpillar as it's transitioning, as in changing into shape to be what it was created, what it was born to be, right? The first stage is where it's an egg. It just finds itself there, right, as an egg, and then after that it transitions into a caterpillar. The main function of a caterpillar is to eat. When we translate this into our talent muscle, the egg stage is where you discover and you find out what your talent muscle is. What were you created? What were you born to do, to be? The next stage, the caterpillar or the larva stage, is where you're gaining information. You're learning. Gain as much information as you can about your talent muscle. So this is where you go through university, you get those certificates, you do the seminars, watch the YouTube channels, read the books. So you're gaining as much information that will help you to be all you were created to be, right? So this week, we're going to be talking about the next stage, which is the pupa stage. The pupa stage is also known as the transitioning stage. When a caterpillar has fully grown, it stops eating and then it becomes a pupa. This stage can take from few weeks to a couple of months, and depending on the species of the butterfly, it can take up to 2 years. On the outside, it looks like nothing is happening, but inside, lots of big changes are happening. On your journey of exercising your muscle, you have to transition, move from the caterpillar stage into the pupa stage. So remember, the caterpillar stage is where you're learning, gaining as much information as you can. The pupa stage is where you're practicing what you're preaching. You're applying the knowledge that you've gained. There's action. You're doing something about it. Some time back, this local bank that I bank with, they still have like a rewards program, right? And this rewards program is like on steroids when you use your credit card. So I didn't have a credit card then. I gained so much information. I mean, like, I was calling up my friends Tato and Treasure. They had applied knowledge that I could see, it's benefiting them. I gained all this information. They took me to sites and I was gaining information. I was in the caterpillar stage. But something just wasn't clicking. I just wasn't transitioning into the next stage. But I was comfortable. I had all this information. Then I remember one day I was talking to my sister and I'm telling her all this information I had because, wow, I was learned in this subject. And I'm telling her the benefits. If you use a credit card like this, you can make it, And then she looked at me and she's like, dude, you've got all this knowledge, but we don't see the fruits of it. Ouch. This was the best painful words I could have received. Painful because there I'm thinking I'm giving the young generation information. I'm helping you to use what I say. Don't do as I do as I say. I thought, I'm giving her information. But what she said was so profound. We want to see that what you know, we want to see the application of it. Then we'll listen to you and we'll know that it works. Wow. The same with our talent muscle. While you're still in the caterpillar phase, you're learning, getting information, gaining, eating. But you have to transition into the pupa stage where you apply the knowledge. So you've learned how to bake on the outside stove or like making fire outside, to mitigate load shedding. But now apply it. Whatever you have learned, you've learned now how to tackle better apply the knowledge. Muscle lady, you have learned that consistency helps you in making or helping people to exercise their muscle. Apply the knowledge. All the knowledge that you have gained in the previous stage, it is no good if you don't transition into the next stage. Ever heard of too much knowledge is boring, it's deadly, it's not good? Because what do we do with all this knowledge if we can't see the benefit of it? It's the same, it will be like somebody who's never exercised in their life but has a degree in physical science or whatever, and they're giving you tips and you're like, but guy, maybe if you used those tips, maybe it could work for you, right? It's the same. You have to transition into the next stage, the pupa stage. Practice what you preach. The world pays for practice, or what they call experience. As you're practicing what you preach, you're gaining experience. Think about it. As a new graduate who's got papers, you get the entry level salary, right? The company pays you entry level. But the more experience you had, so the application of that knowledge that you have, the higher the salary goes. The more serious people take you when they see the application of the knowledge that you've gained. So it's all good to get the information because you need to apply it, right? But it doesn't benefit me or you if I haven't applied it. So as much as I am gaining this information on how to help you exercise your muscle better, if you don't see me doing it, if you don't see me consistent, if you don't see me apply what I teach, you need to practice what you preach. When my sister told me that, whoa, like it hit on me like a ton of bricks, but it was so vital to hear that. The information that you know is no good. It's just blah, blah, blah until you apply it and then we see the benefits of it. Once I started applying the knowledge I had, whoa, did the benefits and the rewards come. And then once that muscle starts being big and attractive, it started attracting my mom. She started bringing her resources so that the rewards were greater, right? So once you apply and you practice what you preach, practice the knowledge that you've gained, then your muscle gets bigger and it gets attractive. During the caterpillar's growth life, right, as it becomes a pupa, on the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. In your journey of exercising your muscle, when you're applying the knowledge and everything that you've learned in varsity, on YouTube, the books that you've read, or your mentors, they give you tips. As you apply that, it might look like nothing is happening on the outside, but trust me, lots of big changes are happening inside. You're gaining experience. You're gaining stuff that you will need and that will benefit you in the next stage. The world pays for experience. Why? Experience saves time. Experience saves money. Experience increases time. It increases synergy. Experience has more benefits. You cut time short, So we want an experienced person. Have you seen those job applications that says a minimum of 5 years experience is a requirement? The world pays for experience. This is the stage where as you're practicing what you preach, you're gaining experience. Don't lose heart because you will not automatically see the changes that are happening, right? You might feel I'm putting in all this effort, but I'm not seeing the rewards. It takes time. Remember, with a caterpillar, this stage can take from a few weeks, a few months, and sometimes a few years. The same with us. The transitioning phase can take a few weeks, a few months, a few years. Do not compare yourself with somebody else because our journeys are different. I was talking to a friend this past weekend and she was telling me, how she feels, sometimes she feels demotivated because you're doing the right things. You're working at your talent. You're practicing. You're gaining all the knowledge and you're practicing and you're putting in the effort. It just doesn't look like or seem like anything is coming of it. I encouraged her and told her, don't lose heart. This stage takes time. It takes diligence. It takes consistency. It takes you being persistent. Don't lose heart. It takes time. The pupa stage is all about practice what you preach. Practice, practice, practice. This is where you gain experience, right? Gaining experience so that the next stage you may benefit from all the efforts that you've put in. Now you know how to cut time. So you've gained knowledge on how to budget and save for that big oven that you need, right? Apply the knowledge. Apply the knowledge that you've gained in the previous. It's so important that you didn't skip the previous stage where you're gaining the knowledge, because now what are you going to apply if you skip that stage? You have to go through each and every stage of your growth, of exercising your muscle. Remember, it starts with the caterpillar. It starts as an egg, then it becomes a caterpillar or the larva. Now it's a pupa. Everything in the previous stage is helping it in this stage. Everything in your stage, you needed to know what your talent is. You needed to believe in it. Then the next stage, you needed to put in all the knowledge, gain the knowledge, go to school, get mentors, watch those videos, gain knowledge on your talent. Now in the pupa stage is where you apply knowledge, applied knowledge, apply that knowledge that you've gained so that you practice and you gain experience, because the world pays for experience. It's no use you blabbing and telling us how we can save when your life doesn't show the fruits of what you're telling us. We want to see the fruits, and therefore once you exercise your muscle and it's big, it attracts. You might not even have to tell me, when you save, I will see it in your life and I'll come to you and say, whoa, tell me, how did you do this? At this stage, practice what you preach. I mean, when you look at a bodybuilder, right, who's all muscular, and you can see that this person has applied the knowledge that they've learned of how to build their body, how to look healthier, how to maybe eat healthier, right? When they give you their opinion of what to do for your life to change, you're not going to question it. You're not going to ask them, where's your certificate? But if I come, who looks like I've never set a day in gym or exercised anyway, and I tell you, but my guy tried this and this, that, you are going to say, maybe you try what you are trying to tell me, right? When you walk into an experienced doctor's office, you don't depend on the paper on the wall. You depend on their experience. Experience is very vital, and this is the stage where you get it. Practice what you preach. Practice, practice, practice. Practice, 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 so that you may get better at your skill, so that you may perfect the skill that you've born with, right? The pupa stage. On the outside, it might look like nothing is happening, but on the inside, many big changes are happening. You're learning how to save time. You're learning how to save energy. You're learning how to save money. You're learning how to have stage presence. You're learning how to tackle better. A lot is happening to your character, to your talent internally. It might not be all visible. You're learning how to mix those decks. It's a lot that's happening inside. Do not lose heart, because it takes time. Practice what you preach. That's the pupa stage. And don't quit because it's taking too long. Depending on the species of the butterfly, it might take 2 years. Depending on your talent, it might take time. It might take longer than it takes for me or somebody else. Don't lose time, because you were created to be whatever you are now practicing to be. Practice what you preach. This is the Muscle Lady, here to remind you to exercise your muscle.
#ExerciseYourMuscle.
Thank you for watching this video. I truly value you. If you liked what you heard and this video had an impact in your life, please like and share the video with your family and friends. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button so that you will be notified whenever a new video comes out. Click here for the previous video on the caterpillar series, and click here for the previous series of sharpening your pencil. Until next time, this is the Muscle Lady, here to remind you to exercise your muscle.